Hello KZRG followers, Ty Albright here in the KZRG 24-hour Storm Center, starting this live right about 1 a.m. So we are starting to see these storms move into the area. Actually have a couple tornado warnings in parts of northeast Oklahoma, so we're going to continue to watch for the threat of severe weather as it pushes towards the Joplin metro. So we will be here with you and we will continue to follow these storms. So if you are just tuning in, again, it's probably over, but we appreciate you watching and getting your severe weather from us. So thank you so much again for tuning in. Ty Albright here in the KZRG 24-hour weather sensor. 1 o'clock here in the Joplin metro. We are live here on Facebook, also live on YouTube. If you are on Facebook, I know some people like to watch it on the TV. You can head to News Talk KZRG on Facebook. Just simply search that and you should be able to put this on your TV. Just search News Talk KZRG, all one word. You'll be able to listen to us or watch us on YouTube. Thank you guys for trickling in here on the KZRG Facebook and YouTube page. Ty Albright here in the KZRG 24-hour storm sensor. We are keeping an eye on a damaging wind threat pushing towards the Joplin metro in northeast Oklahoma. A couple spin-up tornadoes possible here near the Jay, Colcord, and Tahlequah areas we've seen. So we are going to continue to see that push towards northwest Arkansas, but we need to watch this part of the line a little bit further north, which currently not a warning on this storm as it heads towards Miami, but we'll see if that changes at this time. But the damaging wind threat is there still, 60, maybe 70 mile an hour, and then a threat for spin-up tornadoes is also possible, but it looks like it's further south. It's further south of Joplin at this time, so that's some good news for us. But we'll be live here just to kind of watch it for you over the next little bit. Again, you are watching on the KZRG Facebook page. If you'd like to watch on YouTube, hello Rick. If you'd like to watch on YouTube, you can as well. You can better cast it to your TV or other devices on YouTube. Just search News Talk KZRG on there. You can see this Boeing segment is producing some damaging winds, and we'll continue to watch for the threat for any type of spin-up tornadoes. But it looks like the primary boundary for where the storm interactions that would be favorable for tornadoes running from the northwestern tip of Benton County into Delaware County there in northeast Oklahoma and extreme northwest Arkansas. So these are the areas of concern right now. Jay, Colcord, northeast Oklahoma as it heads towards the very western parts of Arkansas, northwestern part of Arkansas, the very southwestern tip of southwest Missouri. So if you're in Colcord, Jay, Gravette, Decatur, Sulphur Springs, even Southwest City and parts of southwest parts of McDonald County, you need to be aware of that. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Ottawa County here. 60 mile an hour wind gusts and some small hail. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. I'll kind of be bouncing back between here and doing radio stuff, but you will always be able to hear exactly what the information I'm relaying. We've got 60 mile an hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail possible, and we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning that includes Neosho with a tornado possible tag. So I'll go ahead and go on the radio here just a moment, so just bear with me.
From the Simmer Marketing Studios, sponsored by New Mac Electric.
Ty Albright here in the KZRG 24-hour weather sensor. Severe weather moving into the listening area as we've got some severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. That includes pretty much a good section of northeast Oklahoma, including Ottawa County, Craig County, northwestern Delaware County, and northeastern Nowata counties at this time. And then in southwest Missouri, the southern and eastern half of Newton County and all of McDonald County. Now with those storms there, we've got 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts possible and even a tornado possible tag on that storm. So we've got the chance for these embedded spin-up tornadoes within this line of storms that is bowing out as it heads in from northeast Oklahoma. So again, we've got to be weather aware over the next 30 minutes to an hour if we're in the Joplin metro and surrounding areas. If you can hear my voice, just got to be weather aware, especially the further south you are of, let's say, Pittsburgh. I think once you get further north of Pittsburgh, further north of, say, Lamar, there's less chances for severe weather, just seeing some good old-fashioned thunderstorms there. But in that line, south of Pittsburgh, south of Lamar, south of Carthage, south of Joplin especially, that is the area of concern we're watching here in the KZRG 24-hour storm center. You can join us live on the News Talk KZRG Facebook page and News Talk KZRG on YouTube. We are streaming. You can see the exact radar that I am looking at this time, and that will help you visualize where these storms are. So we're looking at northeast Oklahoma. This Boeing segment, there is actually a tornado warned storm moving through the Jay, Oklahoma, and Colcord, Oklahoma areas. That's going to go into extreme northwest Arkansas near Decatur, Gentry, and Gravette, Arkansas. Even Sulphur Springs might even clip a little bit of the southwest city area there in extreme parts of McDonald County, say Knoll, Pineville, Lanigan, and Anderson. That general area could see that Boeing segment kind of move a little bit northeast, but we are seeing a little bit of circulation in that area. And just have a brand new severe thunderstorm warning that includes Joplin. We got quarter-size hail and a 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So we've got all of Cherokee County, all of Jasper County, all of Newton County, all of Ottawa County, all of McDonald County currently under a severe thunderstorm warning. 60 to 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts are possible with these storms, especially Neosho and south. There's also that tornado possible tag on it in parts of northeast Oklahoma too. So we are watching this Boeing segment head right for Bernice, Afton, and Grove at this time. Little bit of a slight rotation as it heads towards Grove, but we've got this tornado possible tag within a severe thunderstorm warning. So just be aware of that, because the sirens probably would not sound for a severe thunderstorm warning with tornado possible tag in some areas. They might, though, for 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts or greater, just so you are aware of that. I know we had that issue or that situation arise last weekend, the weekend before last, with the storm that moved through Joplin. But just weather aware tonight, we got a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. A Boeing segment with damaging wind gusts is pushing through the area at this time. So if you also just making sure you don't rely solely on your NOAA weather radio, because currently the ones that are covered from the National Weather Service in Springfield, they are actually down for maintenance, software upgrades. So if you were wondering why your NOAA weather radio didn't go off, that is why, because those won't be up until sometime tomorrow. So that's why it's important you always have several ways to get weather warnings. We're seeing still a little bit of bowing out segments. Head for Afton, head for Grove, Bernice, Fairlands, Miami, Commerce, and then up into parts of southeast Kansas at this time. The latest radar scan shows places like Oswego, Chautauqua, Commerce, Miami, back down to Afton, Bernice, Grove, Jay, Colcord, and then parts of northwest Arkansas to be in the most immediate areas where this storm is going to impact first. And then, of course, it'll move closer to the I-49 corridor and then up I-44 as well, slowly approaching the Joplin metro. So, again, you are listening to live severe weather coverage on the stations of Zimmer Marketing. If you're interested in hearing us live on Facebook or YouTube, you can search News Talk KZRG and see the exact radar that I am looking at for you in this early morning hours, and that will give you a better visualization of some of where these storms are and where they are headed. The biggest storm right now is just to the east-southeast of Jay, north of Colcord, Oklahoma, about to head into extreme northwest Arkansas, probably south of Southwest City, south of Knoll, but that is a tornado warning there. It is radar indicated, and it is still trying to spin up just a little bit. And then we go up the line towards Grove once again. There's just these little tiny notches where the storms are trying to spin up along this boundary that's kind of in this area of northeast Oklahoma and extreme southwest Missouri. So that's something we're going to continue to watch. But we've got that severe thunderstorm warning for Cherokee and Jasper County, and then the northwestern half of Newton County. That's quarter-size hail and a 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. And we've got that second warning for the southeastern half of Newton County and all of McDonald County. That's also quarter-size hail, but 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts with the tornado possible tag on it. So that is something you need to be aware of these early morning hours. We've been following these lines of storms all day long, kind of watching where they were going to go. Went a little further south than we thought, but still affecting portions of the Zimmer marketing listening area at this time. So, of course, when severe weather breaks out, we do break in here on the stations of Zimmer marketing. So we do have the circulation in northeast Oklahoma, southeast of Jay, headed for the Gravette, Sulphur Springs, and Decatur areas. Maybe Southwest City, they're in extreme parts of southwest McDonald County, could see that close to their area. Just be aware of that if you are in the Southwest City and Knoll areas at this time. And then, of course, we've got severe thunderstorm warnings all over the place as it's going to be a loud next hour or so here in the Joplin Metro as this Boeing segment continues to push towards the area. And we'll stay here live on air. I know it's early morning. People have storm anxiety, and we'll just be here to talk you through the storm and make sure you are aware of the latest movements on the radar, and then, of course, the latest information directly from the National Weather Service. It is 11:11. Stations of Zimmer Marketing. You're listening to Ty Albright reporting live on the stations of Zimmer. That includes Kicks, Kissin', Big Dog, Classic Hits, News Talk KZRG, and AM 1230 The Talker. If you'd like to join us on the KZRG Facebook or YouTube, you can do so. Got a live look at the tower cam here at 30 seconds and range line. That does show a lot of lightning off to our west and to our south at this time, but pretty dry in Joplin. Had some rain a little bit ago. Had some flashes of thunder. We had that severe thunderstorm warning that moved through parts of Newton and McDonald counties about an hour and a half ago. And then this other Boeing segment that I told you about has finally moved into the area. Hopefully it's out of here by 2:30. It is kind of moving to the east at about 35, 40, 45, 50 miles an hour. Just depends on what part of the line, but it is moving a little bit quicker than it was earlier. So hopefully that is some good news, and that these storms are in and out and don't do any damage. But it looks like damaging winds could be the biggest threat with these storms. Also, of course, watching for any little spin up in the line as well. So Afton, Bernice, Grove, Fairlands, Miami, Commerce, Chautauqua, Oswego, you are in on the action or about to get in on that action. And then, of course, we still got about probably 10 minutes before Columbus, Baxter, Quapaw, Seneca, Wyandotte see that storm push through, and then maybe 15 to 20 for the Galena, Joplin, Neosho, Goodman areas. And then, of course, the farther north and east you are, going to take a little bit longer for you to actually see the impacts of these storms. But right now, they are just severe thunderstorm warnings at this time, but we continue to watch for any little bit of rotation within. But as of right now, nothing looks too concerning, at least from the latest radar scan that has just come in. There might be a little bit of rotation trying near the Grove area, just to the north of Grove, between there and Fairlands, but nothing concerning enough as of now to warrant a tornado warning. But of course, we've got that severe thunderstorm warning with the tornado possible tag on it. So it is always just best to be aware. The National Weather Service knows that it's not enough to issue the tornado warning, but it could drop one of those little spin-up tornadoes at any time, even sometimes between the radar scans, which we get maybe 2, 3, sometimes every 4 minutes. So loud night here in the 4-state area. Hoping you are weather aware this morning, waking up to some thunder and lightning across Zimmer Storm Sensor listening area. Make sure you download the Zimmer Storm Center app. It is free in your app store. I know a lot of people probably in the Facebook comments right now asking about their specific address. And generally, if I'm not talking about your area, that's a good thing. But a lot of us are under a severe thunderstorm warning, especially along a line from Parsons to Pittsburgh and south. We've got a good chunk of severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. 60 to 70 mile an hour wind gusts, some small hail, and then, of course, in the line a little bit further south, there is a chance for a little spin-up tornado that we're going to keep an eye on with the latest radar scan. That is showing Miami about to get in on this Boeing segments. Fairlands, Grove getting in on the action, probably some 60 mile per hour wind gusts entering Grove right now. And then that Boeing segment kind of goes a little bit further northwest towards Chautauqua, Bartlett, and then Oswego as well. Pittsburgh got some decent rain coming down, but Pittsburgh, you are not in a warning at this time, so that's some good news. But we do have the severe thunderstorm warning that continues for McDonald County and Newton County. 70 mile an hour wind gusts will be the main threat with that storm. Once it reaches those counties, it's still not actually crossed into the Missouri border at this time, so we'll just have to keep an eye on that for you over the next little bit. They did let the tornado warning near Jay cancel, so that is no longer a tornado warned storm, but there's still a little bit of rotation just south of Southwest City, right there, that Highway 43 corridor as you enter Arkansas and that Oklahoma, where Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri all meet up. There's a little bit of rotation just to the south and east there towards Gravette and Sulphur Springs. So if you're in Knoll, if you're in Southwest City, even parts of extreme southern McDonald County and the rural areas, just be weather aware that this storm could try to spin up another little tiny bit of rotation at this time. But the rest of the line's not looking all that rotation-y at this time. There is just a little bit over Grand Lake, northeast of Copeland, southeast of Fairlands, but again, that's not too concerning right now. Just going to keep an eye on it. Some gusty winds, though, moving right over the northern part of Grand Lake, north of the Grove area. And the National Weather Service actually just issuing a statement here saying the organized cluster of storms appears to be in the process of weakening as it rapidly progresses eastwards into the Ozark Plateau. However, the potential for strong to severe surface gusts may be slower to diminish, and trends are being monitored for the possibility of an additional severe weather watch further to our east. Of course, a lot of our counties already in a severe thunderstorm warning, so they're kind of talking more about the Springfield area at this time, but the storm did push through Tulsa about an hour and a half ago and did have some power flashes and do some damage downtown Tulsa. So that is the further southern extent with the storm. The northern part of the storm also had about 60 to 70 mile an hour wind gusts as it moved through Bartlesville and is moving through Miami, Commerce, Fairland, Grove, and then, of course, into Southwest City at this time. But the National Weather Service says it is going to eventually weaken, but for now we probably just need to be weather aware as we still probably have this severe weather threat for another hour or so. Again, if you're listening on the radio and you are a visual person like me, you can head on over to the News Talk KZRG Facebook page or News Talk KZRG on YouTube, streaming live. And with the radar, the tower cam above my head on that screen as well, so you can see exactly what we are seeing up to the minute, up to the second. They did kind of issue these warnings. Somebody asked, why did they issue a warning in Joplin, Neosho, and these places aren't in a warning? It was a little bit early, but this area is where the responsibilities of the Tulsa National Weather Service switch over to the responsibilities of the Springfield National Weather Service. So Springfield kind of went ahead and was very precautionary about issuing these warnings a little bit further ahead of time. So if you're in Joplin, Neosho, Carl, Baxter, Galena, Columbus, still haven't seen anything actually impact you just yet. That is because the Springfield National Weather Service issued these just a tad early, but giving you plenty of time to be weather aware in case these were to ramp up. Getting the latest radar scan as these storms are kind of moving east-northeast, a little bit further northeast the further north you go, but they are bowing into parts of northwest Arkansas. They are trying to bow a little bit in the Miami, Grove areas, but it's not as extreme as it is in parts of Benton County there in northwest Arkansas. So generally when you see a bowing segment, that means the winds are gusting even more extreme than they would if the line was just completely straight. So again, the line is sort of kind of weakening, but we are still going to have a severe weather threat for at least the next hour or so, and that does include the chance for a little spin-up tornado, also peak wind gusts, 65, 70, maybe even some isolated 75-mile-per-hour wind gusts and some quarter to small hail as well with the strongest parts of the storms. But it looks like for the immediate listening area, the strongest part of the storm is to the north of Grove, heading north and east. So if you're in Wyandotte, if you're in Seneca, if you're on Highway 43 there in parts of McDonald County, that is where the strongest part of the storm is headed at this time. But kind of echoing what the National Weather Service says, it looks like the greatest threat for the storms is going to be in an area kind of in the Newton County, McDonald County, Berry County, and then northwest Arkansas, maybe even east towards Branson. That's the greatest severe weather threat. That doesn't mean there can't be severe weather elsewhere, but as of the latest from the National Weather Service, they do believe that's the better chances for seeing some severe thunderstorms with damaging wind gusts. Still just following some little bit of rotation that we're watching near Fairland and Wyandotte. It doesn't look too concerning at this time, but just going to keep an eye on it with the latest radar scan that we have. We do have the severe thunderstorm warnings with tornado possible tags on them. So the chances there are not zero, I guess, for little spin-up brief tornadoes with these storms. You are listening to live severe weather coverage. Ty Albright here in the KZRG 24-hour storm sensor coming up on 1:23 in the morning on this, what is now Wednesday. Thank you for tuning in, getting your severe weather coverage here. You can also always get severe weather coverage and alerts sent right to your phone through the Zimmer Storm Sensor app. It's free on your Android or on your iPhone, and you can sign up for alerts for your specific location, even if you are traveling. Still a good app for you to use there because it, if you allow it, it can follow your location and give you alerts for if you're on the road. Taking a look at the latest scan, Grove now through some of that brunt of the storm, which is about to impact parts of Tiff City. Just to the north, it's already impacting Southwest City, going to impact parts of Knoll, Sulphur Springs, that extreme part, southwestern part of McDonald County. And then we go up north, Miami, Commerce, getting in on the action. Quapaw, Baxter, Peoria, Seneca, Wyandotte, you are next here within the next few minutes. Probably some damaging winds and some heavy rain as well. Something I haven't mentioned yet, still a flash flooding possibility too, because, of course, we've had so much rain the last couple of months that the ground is just so saturated. And so it doesn't really take much in the way of heavy rain to make those low water crossings that always flood even more. But a lot of lightning with these storms. Bowing out segment all the way up from Parsons to Oswego, Columbus, Baxter, Commerce, Miami, Wyandotte. It's already moved through Fairland and moved through Grove, moving through Southwest City as we speak. But fortunately, nothing tornadic as of now, nothing imminent tornadically as of now, but keeping our eyes on that for you. I do have a tornado warning in parts of northwest Arkansas that's going to cover south of Fayetteville, and that is moving to the east. It should move south of Fayetteville. It still hasn't crossed the Oklahoma-Arkansas line, but that's a little bit further south of our immediate listening area, but just something to keep an eye on, that where this storm is bowing out is the greatest threat for severe wind gusts and the potential for those little spin-up tornadoes. Actually do have a new Mesoscale precipitation discussion from the National Weather Service. They say that back-building convection or back-building rain will continue to train from west to east with localized hourly accumulations of 1.5 to 2.5 inches. Isolated to scattered instances of flash flooding are possible with these storms. So, as I mentioned, of course, damaging winds are always a threat. Tornadoes are always a threat. Hail's always a threat. But a lot of people forget about the flash flooding threat as well. Definitely do not want to get caught in a flash flooding situation. So we always say turn around, don't drown. But again, we could see at least 1.5 inches, maybe 2.5 inches in some of these places where the storms continue to train. So if you are in Grove, has another question about Grove and Copeland. Highway 59 corridor there, the brunt of the storm has pushed through. There could be some gusty winds behind it, so just because the rain kind of stops being so heavy doesn't mean there can't be some gusty winds behind that storm, but those areas are kind of in the lull of the storm as of now. But they are continuing back into southwest Missouri. They are continuing a severe thunderstorm warning for southern Newton and McDonald counties. Still 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail are possible with that storm. That, of course, does include Neosho, which, hasn't seen anything just yet, but storms are finally creeping in to the southwest Missouri area. So if you're in Seneca, you'll be seeing this damaging wind threat. If you're along and west of I-49, you will see this first, and then these storms will push in to the north and east over the next 15 to 20 minutes or so. Looks like some power outages, though, in the Grove-Copeland area, at least from one listener reported, but you are in the clear of severe weather. There is, again, a lot of just somewhat steady rainfall behind these storms, but once the brunt of it moves through, there's probably about a 5 to 10 minute period where it is pretty heavy rainfall and a heavy winds, but that would be the brunt of the storm. So once that pushes through, you're pretty much good for the night, other than seeing some of this back-building rainfall, which could again cause some flooding threats. National Weather Service also continuing the severe thunderstorm warning for Cherokee County, northern Newton, and Jasper counties. This has 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, as we are continuing to see severe thunderstorm located along a line extending from near Oswego to near Fairlands, and it's moving northeast to 50 miles per hour. So the National Weather Service says that they will be in Baxter and Columbus and Treese in about 3 to 4 minutes. Seneca also about 3, 4, 5 minutes from now. Galena and Scammon closer to 135 to 140, and then Joplin, I think we should start to see this Boeing segment reach the metro at about 140 or 145. So going to be loud. Maybe some instances of damaging wind gusts, 60 to 70 miles per hour. Keeping our eyes on any rotation. Nothing really truly impressive radar-wise, but we are following it for you each and every scan of the radar, not only from Tulsa, but from Springfield as well. We are, again, I'll remind you, if you're listening on the radio, if you're a visual person, you can tune in on the News Talk KZRG Facebook page or News Talk KZRG on YouTube. And that way you can see exactly what I am looking at radar-wise, and you get a tower cam view as well. Appreciate you again tuning in these early morning hours as this Boeing segment continues to push through the listening area. 60, possibly 70 mile per hour wind gusts. A couple of little spin up tornadoes. Can't rule those out. Keeping our eyes on that. Not really seeing anything in the way that would indicate there would be anything at this time, but just want to make sure we are weather aware each and every second, because we're still kind of on that very edge, the very northern edge of where the ingredients are that could possibly produce one of those little spin-up tornadoes. So just something we want to watch over the next 20 minutes, 20 to 30, 45 minutes or so. It looks like we've had several listeners in northeast Oklahoma say they have lost power in the Fairland, Grove, Copeland areas there, the Highway 59 corridor, and then up towards I-44. So these storms are going to pack a punch as they head into Seneca, Neosho, and Goodman. It'll be the same segment that caused people to lose power there. So don't be surprised if you are in these areas and maybe happen to get a wind gust that knocks the power out. It's now 1:30 in the morning. News Talk KZRG, the stations of Zimmer Marketing, Ty Albright here in the KZRG 24-hour storm sensor, keeping you up to date, minute by minute, moment by moments on these severe thunderstorm warnings. As again, we're seeing a Boeing line segment push towards the Joplin Metro ever so slowly, or it's actually going 50 miles an hour, but still. I-49 corridor about to get in on this action. We are seeing some heavy downpours as well. I know Pittsburgh, you are not in any warning. Pittsburgh is on the north side of any warning, but there is still some heavy rain coming down in parts of southeast Kansas, like in Oswego and in the Parsons areas. And then, of course, it's headed up towards Girard, Arma, and over Frontenac as we speak. But a lot of rain behind these storms. As I mentioned, flash flooding could be an issue tonight as well. It may continue to train from west to east. Some localized hourly accumulations of 1.5 to 2.5 inches are possible. Latest radar scan here showing still some gusty winds headed right for Seneca. I think that's the brunt of the storm at this time near Wyandotte, Seneca, Indigo Sky, the Highway 60, Highway 10 intersection is kind of where that was just a moment ago, and it's headed northeast. So a little bit of lightning over Miami and Commerce as well. Of course, when you look towards where the storm's showing lightning signatures, that is a part of the storm that is intensifying or remains intense at least. But we're just continuing to really watch for any little kink in the line of rotation. Not really seeing anything of concern necessarily. Going to get a new radar scan here in just a moment. I'll be able to give you a better idea of what we're seeing. But the squall line, again, has been pushing through a lot of Oklahoma, a lot of southern Kansas, and it is eventually weakening as it moves further east, but we were kind of on that eastern edge of the moderate and enhanced risk of severe weather today. So we kind of knew this 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock time frame was when it was going to roll through. So the latest radar scan still not showing anything too crazy in the way of rotation, maybe some mid-level rotation, but nothing that would indicate anything would be anywhere near the ground. But of course, with a severe thunderstorm warning with the tornado possible tag, just want to be weather aware that something like that could briefly spin up. But 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts appear to be the greatest threat, and even then I'm not seeing anything quite that high on the latest radar scans, but it's always better safe than sorry. So again, these storms are moving northeast about 45, 50, maybe 55 miles per hour. So if you're in Joplin, still haven't seen anything. The rain is getting into Galena, Loma Linda, even near the Racine and Hornet areas, but the brunt of the storm still has just moved through Quapaw. Wyandotte headed right for Seneca at this time. Even then, now we go into McDonald County, areas near Anderson, Pineville. Just I-49, pretty much. It's starting to impact those areas. But the latest velocity signatures from these storms, again, not looking really all that impressive. Just some probably 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts that could be possible in Seneca. I would say more of sustained winds, maybe 30 to 40, and then a random gust of 60 could knock some things over. Could knock some little tree limbs off the air or off your tree. We are still on the air, though, because we got severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for several local counties. including the tornado possible tag in parts of Newton County, which does include Neosho. So we are live on all stations of Zimmer Marketing when severe weather breaks out, especially when it is of the magnitude that it is, and it being so early in the morning. And with the NOAA weather radios too. Also, of course, there's an outage currently because their software is being upgraded. So if you have a NOAA weather radio and you were wondering if or why you didn't maybe get an alert, that's because they are going to be down at least through sometime later on today as the software gets upgraded. So it's always important that you have multiple ways to receive weather warnings. You are again listening to live severe weather coverage, the stations of Zimmer Marketing. Ty Albright here in the KZRG 24-hour storm sensor. You can join us on the KZRG Facebook page, News Talk KZRG on YouTube, if you'd like to see the live weather radar that I am looking at. Also a view of the tower cam. Which still showing just a little bit of lightning off to the west and southwest of the Joplin Metro, at least from our studios here near 32nd and Range Line in Joplin. So again, continuing to watch this little Boeing segment, starting to impact parts of Neosho. Going through Seneca, headed for Loma Linda, Galena, Baxter getting in on the action. Joplin, of course, going to as well as it moves off to the north and east. But then there's a lot of heavy rain coming down in the Pittsburgh, Girard, Arma areas. There's no warning there in the Pittsburgh, Crawford County, part of southeast Kansas. No warning, but some heavy rain, probably some rumbles of thunder. A loud night there in Parsons as well. Really a loud night in all of southeast Kansas. And a good chunk of northeast Oklahoma, and just finally starting to move through into southwest Missouri. The line really looks to be weakening a bit here as it continues to push closer to the metro. It's just not looking as impressive as it was, and the National Weather Service even indicated that to us, that would happen a little bit ago. But we just want to stay on air and make sure that while there is a warning in effect, that we keep you up to date with the latest, because of course things could change at a moment's notice. And it's 1:30 in the morning. You got nothing better going on? We're kind of looking at the latest analysis from the National Weather Service. It looks like the best environment for these storms is still kind of along and south of I-44 mostly. And is eventually going to weaken as it moves farther east. But I think they could end up extending the severe thunderstorm watch maybe to Springfield. But at this time, it looks like the biggest part of the Boeing segment is going to stay to the south of the Missouri-Kansas line. So there is a tornado warning for the West Fork, Prairie Grove, Lincoln, Greenland areas in northwest Arkansas. That is south of Fayetteville. That looks like the strongest part of this entire system at this time. But for us, we're kind of on that northern edge where there still is 60 mile an hour to 70 mile an hour wind gusts with the strongest part of the storm. Kind of get another radar scan here. It's just looking pretty messy across the Joplin Metro. There's probably some heavy rain coming down near Columbus, near Baxter. Maybe a little bit of hail as well could be moving towards the Joplin Metro, but really not too concerned with the rotation that I'm seeing on the radar. Got a couple different views, and it's not looking too crazy from either the Tulsa or the Springfield radar at this time, so that's some good news. There is some lightning near Columbus and Baxter. There's a Been a couple lightning strikes over the last minute, so the storm's still pretty intense there in parts of Cherokee County. But actually not seeing much lightning elsewhere, at least that's being picked up by the lightning detector at this time. So, of course, we generally look for lightning when the storm is intense and or intensifying. But the only portion we're seeing that is in Cherokee County. So there's probably some hail coming down on Highway 69 between Baxter Springs and Columbus. Maybe a little bit of quarter-size hail with that part of the storm. But nothing too crazy at this moment. Again, it is 1:40 a.m. on, is it Wednesday now? June 18th, 2025. You're listening to live severe weather coverage. Ty Albright here in the KZRG 24-hour Storm Center. If you want a live weather radar, you can download the Zimmer Storm Center app. It's free. You can also sign up for alerts for your specific location, which I'm sure some people are asking about, or wondering about. But if I'm not talking about your general area, that's usually a good thing. So Baxter, Peoria, Seneca, all the way into McDonald County, like Goodman, Anderson, Pineville, you have seen the brunt of the storm come into your area. If you're in Columbus, you're seeing that as well right now. And then, of course, that's going to move up Highway 69 corridor. And we are actually getting some power outage reports rolling in from the Seneca, Gravette, Sulphur Springs area. So as that storm did push through that little section of Newton County, McDonald County, and then into Benton County, it did look like it knocked down some power in parts of the area. Also getting reports of a tree down on Highway 10 and 652 in Ottawa County. They're in northeast Oklahoma, blocking one lane of traffic. That is from emergency manager there in Ottawa County in northeast Oklahoma. So it is just showing that some of these storms are bowing out enough to where they can do some damage to trees and do damage to power lines. So just be aware of that. Again, they're all severe thunderstorm warnings. At this time, our southern extent, the southern part of Newton County and all of McDonald County, still under that tornado possible tag on it, but haven't really seen anything too concerning rotation-wise, but it looks like it is bowing out a little bit. Goodman, Anderson, Neosho. So just be weather aware. That's some damaging winds coming into southern Newton and northern McDonald counties at this time. So just be hunkered down. You don't necessarily have to take shelter, but it's 142. Just make sure that you are in somewhere that is sturdy enough to withstand some possibly 60 to 70 mile an hour wind gusts. Appreciate you again staying up late, tuning in, making the stations of Zimmer Marketing your severe weather outlet. Also on the News Talk KZRG YouTube page and News Talk KZRG on Facebook. That's where you can see latest radar scan as it comes in minute by minute. And you can see a view of our tower cam, which is got some nice shots of lightning overlooking 32nd Street. But taking a look back at the radar, again, got a couple of bowling segments headed right for Joplin as we speak, so it's going to get a little loud. Going to be some thunder, going to be some lightning, going to be some gusty winds, maybe 50, maybe 60 in some spots. Columbus seeing that now. Baxter just saw it. Galena's seeing it now. Areas around downstream, Loma Linda, even getting into Joplin, some heavy rain with the storm. Neosho, Goodman, Anderson, Pineville have had reports of power outages in that Seneca, Gravette, Sulphur Springs area, reported from some local electric company representatives. So these storms have done enough damage to where they can knock your power out and also have knocked a couple trees down in Ottawa County, Oklahoma. But we are just looking at severe thunderstorm warnings. If you are just tuning in, wondering what's going on, severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for a good chunk of the area. We've got Cherokee County, Jasper County, and northern Newton County under a severe thunderstorm warning that's packing 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. And then the southern half of Newton County and northern part of McDonald County have 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts possible, and still a tornado possible tag on that. But again, we're not really seeing anything in the way of concerning rotation at this time, and I don't think we have seen that, at least so far. But just making sure that you are aware there could be like a little spin-up tornado in between radar scans just to where the strongest part of the storm is. But some good news for those in Ottawa County, Oklahoma, and pretty much all northeast Oklahoma. There are no more severe thunderstorm warnings in northeast Oklahoma. Those have all been canceled. There is just one in southeast Kansas. That is Cherokee County. And the brunt of the storm is moving through Columbus as we speak, is moving through and has moved through Baxter, Galena, really south and east of Galena as well, and is headed for the Joplin metro. And then a lot of rain in the Pittsburgh area. No warning for Pittsburgh, but as I mentioned earlier, chances for flash flooding, because we've already gotten way too much rain in the last weeks, months, which is fine as we go into summer. Hopefully won't have any drought, but of course right now that is going to present a flash flooding threat. Some places could get 1.5 inches to 2.5 inches where the storms train over and over. So turn around, don't drown. Of course, it's harder to see water over the roadway when it's dark, but just take extra precaution if you are out and about in places that flood pretty easily. But we've really watched this line segment it's starting to fall apart. And the National Weather Service told us it would. It's just not as organized as it was, but it is still bringing a little bit of gusty winds and still a slight possibility of some damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour as it heads into the Joplin metro now. But really, we were looking at some of the weather model data earlier today, and this is kind of the best case scenario, because earlier it was showing some pretty wicked storms push through, so these aren't really as bad as we thought it could have been according to some of the weather model data. But again, severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts are possible at the strongest of storms, but it is kind of falling apart as it enters the Joplin metro. But still going to see some lightning, hear some thunder, some heavy rain, and still that chance for a gusty wind or two. And it looks like they are starting to cancel parts of the severe thunderstorm watch, including a good chunk of northeast Oklahoma. And there could be some gusty winds on the backside of these storms, and then some persistent rainfall. But once the leading edge of the line goes through your area, that's pretty much the severe weather threat for the night. So we'll kind of stay here on air. I know we got these severe thunderstorm warnings still in effect. They're just not looking all that impressive to me on the radar, and not hearing much chatter from the National Weather Service in Springfield so far. But we'll stay with you for just a little bit longer to make sure that these storms are not going to persist as they head northeast. But like I said earlier, the line's really fallen apart lately, and it's just a big old bag of heavy wind and maybe a couple instances of damaging wind gusts. So just 3 severe thunderstorm warnings in effect, or 4 counties, Cherokee County, Jasper County, Newton County, and McDonald County. You are listening to live severe weather coverage. Stations of Zimmer Marketing, 1:48 in the morning on this Wednesday. Ty Albright in the KZRG 24-hour storm sensor. The Boeing segment, as I mentioned, some good news for us. It's just kind of falling apart, weakening as it pushes through Joplin. I mean, we're still seeing some rain, a couple instances of gusty winds, but really it's nothing all too concerning. So I actually think if you want to continue to listen to severe weather coverage, make sure you turn in to the News Talk KZRG Facebook page or News Talk KZRG on YouTube or News Talk KZRG on your radio. That's AM 1310, also FM 102.9 or 105.9 if you're closer to the Neosho area. At this time, I know we got a lot of cloud-to-ground lightning. Had some eyewitness reports of that just moments ago, but storms are kind of winding down. We'll go ahead and, though, get the music stations back to their regular programming, but if you, again, want continuing coverage, head on over to News Talk KZRG on Facebook, on YouTube, or AM 1310, FM 102.9, 105.9. Thanks for tuning in to this live severe weather coverage. My name's Ty Albright, reporting live from the KZRG 24-hour weather center.
This severe weather update from studios of News Talk KZRG and Zimmer Marketing is sponsored by New Mac Electric, proudly serving Southwest Missouri for over 80 years. New Mac Electric, your touch-tone energy partner. Zimmer Marketing and News Talk KZRG. Depend on it.
Back here on the station of News Talk KZRG, AM 1310, FM 102.9, and of course on the KZRG Facebook page and YouTube channel. We are seeing this line again, as I just mentioned, fall apart as it pushes through the area. It's really falling apart just taking a look at the radar. I mean, I'm astounded at how much just pretty much collapsed over the past 20 minutes or so. But that's good news for us. Of course, we're just going to get some rain, which we don't really need. But we'll continue to watch it just in case anything spins up, at least until 2 o'clock. And we'll see if they end up letting these warnings expire. But for now, just hearing some thunder and seeing some cloud-to-ground lightning in and around the Joplin Metro with the severe thunderstorm warnings that do continue at this time. So if you are on the Facebook page or the YouTube channel, thank you for tuning in and keeping us as your severe weather outlet. But we're pretty much, it is loud, but a lot of us pretty much good to go to sleep. I don't always want to try to guarantee things because you never know when it's just going to spin up, but I think the severe weather threat is diminishing. I do think that the greater severe weather threat is still well to our south, and even those are just special weather statements now. So I'm kind of surprised ours are still severe thunderstorm warnings at this time, but everybody's looking pretty good. Again, it's just going to be some thunder, some lightning, some spouts of heavy downpours. Maybe a couple instances of 40, 50, maybe 60 mile an hour wind gusts and some cloud-to-ground lightning, but also that threat for flash flooding is going to continue because some of these storms are going to keep training over at the same areas. So that is something you need to be aware of. And I know we do, I kind of want to look ahead to tomorrow. Tomorrow was supposed to be the big day when we were forecasting this a few days ago, but the storms kind of moved faster than we initially thought they would, so it became a nighttime event here, but there still will be chances for severe weather tomorrow afternoon, especially along and south and east of I-44. Kind of pull up one of these latest radar models here for you if I can get it to work. So this is going to show the storms that we saw tonight. That was pretty accurate. This was a little behind. This was 2 a.m. But then tomorrow, could see this line reinvigorate in the afternoon along and south of I-44. But I think the big threat for storms is going to be more towards the Illinois, southeast Missouri, parts of Kentucky, and Indiana. So I think the severe weather threat for us tomorrow is very, very low. But just know that there is that little threat in the afternoon of some storms that could try to get going along and south of I-44. But still seeing some cloud-to-ground lightning in and around the Joplin Metro. Actually, one on the lightning detector picked up just east of us on 32nd Street near Gateway Drive. Everybody's saying their dogs are very upset with this weather. Yeah. Yeah, but it could have been a lot worse, though. It could have been a lot worse tonight. We've really got lucky with the section of the storm that impacted us, because there were parts of Tulsa that had some power flashes. I was watching a storm chaser in that area, and they had some damage to some buildings in Tulsa. So luckily that part of the storm stayed south of the Joplin metro, and really just kind of getting some good old thunderstorms now, because I think they're going to let this severe thunderstorm warning expire here in just a few minutes. It's loud, though. You know, we're in a kind of a soundproof, it's supposed to be soundproof room, but we can still kind of feel the thunder and some of the rain coming down in the Joplin metro. Let's see. The latest from the National Weather Service says that they are going to let both warnings expire at the top of the hour. So in about 4.5, 5 minutes, the storms have weakened considerably. So again, storms have weakened a lot. They're going to let the warnings expire at 2 a.m. And I am going to let, even though there's a big lightning strike there, I'm going to let our coverage on News Talk KZRG expire. So again, you're going to hear some thunder, you're going to see some lightning. You might get about, a 40, 50 mile an hour wind gust, maybe a random 55, but these severe thunderstorm warnings are going to expire here in just under 4 minutes. So we'll get News Talk KZRG radio listeners back to regular programming. We'll be on the KZRG Facebook page and a YouTube channel just a few more minutes after this, just to kind of wrap things up. So if you want to listen there, stay tuned for just a little bit, and we'll kind of go over what we think will take place. But if you're on the radio, thank you so much for tuning in. It's Ty Albright, the KZRG 24-hour storm sensor. Appreciate you listening tonight. Now back to regular programming.
This severe weather update from studios of News Talk KZRG and Zimmer Marketing is sponsored by New Mac Electric, proudly serving Southwest Missouri for over 80 years. New Mac Electric, your touch-tone energy partner. Zimmer Marketing and News Talk KZRG.
My Huskies don't give a shit about it. They don't care. Dude, we take them on 4th of July. We take them to a big fireworks
Hold on,
display.
I'll make sure I'm okay. I think I'm live on Facebook again.
Yeah,
all right, we're good. Yeah,
they don't care.
Make sure this sounds good first. Hello, KZRG followers, Facebook and YouTube. There we go. Sorry, what were you saying?
My dogs,
they don't like the storms too?
Yeah, we take them to fireworks displays. They don't care. My wife got a new pug, and they were shooting fireworks off just the other day in our neighborhood, and she didn't give a shit either. I don't know if I could handle a dog that really cared about it,
No. And it's like the fireworks thing, they'll be freaking out too.
Yeah.
If you are still tuning in to the KZRG Facebook page, you're going to hear some thunder, lightning, heavy rain, maybe some gusty winds, but they are going to let these severe thunderstorm warnings expire in about a minute and a half. So some good news there, and just making sure that you are weather aware of that. We still have this storm has ticked up north of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was never under a warning all night, but there's definitely some heavy rain and lightning, probably a little bit of hail northeast of Frontenac. Probably just went through Pittsburgh and Frontenac, but we'll head towards Liberal and Arma, and then probably up towards Fort Scott and Nevada areas. But again, those haven't been warned all night long, so everything's trended down. Severe weather chances are not expected to increase during the rest of the night. I know we just heard a big rumble of thunder in the KZRG 24-hour storm center, but there will be some storm training. So essentially these storms are just going to go over some of the same areas over and over. And I kind of want to show you this. Yeah, let's see. So as you can see, you look here at the radar, we got lucky with kind of how the Boeing segment just fluttered out, essentially, which I hate to admit because my dad said exactly that. He says it always just kind of sputters out around the area, which isn't true, but, you know. So, coming up on 2 o'clock here in the KZRG 24-hour storm center, severe weather threat is pretty much over. Some rumbles of thunder, heavy rain, maybe some gusty winds, maybe small hail, but nothing that's quote-unquote severe. So, I'm going to get off for the night and go home and go to sleep. So, again, thank you so much for tuning in on the News Talk KZRG Facebook page and News Talk KZRG YouTube page. Appreciate you very much. Hope you have a good rest of your night. Hope you have a good rest of your Wednesday as well. And we'll, of course, talk to you when there's severe weather. Keep you up to date with the latest News Talk KZRG weather updates all day long. Anyway, my name's Ty.